Hey there guys, and welcome on in. You're about to watch Valky and I's Season 9 tier list. Keep in mind this is Zio's release week, as well as the release week of our first K-pop collaboration, the aespa collab character Winter. We're going to get 3 more of those. So this meta and this tier list will probably shift drastically in the coming months. But as of right now, I think this is a great tier list. If you guys just want to see where your favorite units line up, maybe for headhunting purposes, selector purposes, and hopefully if this video does help you guys out, please consider subscribing to this channel. We're trying to boost those numbers up, and it would mean a ton to me. Additionally, guys, remember that no tier list is perfect. Some of y'all may have differing opinions. Valky and I would love to hear from y'all. And I don't want to discourage anyone from trying to build units outside of the box, especially underpowered units that aren't seen that often. Instead, use this more as a guideline in terms of just power levels, in case that might guide y'all on who to pull, who to use, etc. for this RTA season. Remember, Guild Wars and Arena not included. Just in case this is one of the first tier lists you're checking out from us, the person joining me on voice is named Valky. He streams on Twitch. Please check him out. He's one of the most knowledgeable people I know when it comes to Epic 7. Speaking of Zio and the upcoming aespa collaboration, guys, there's a bunch of amazing deals, including the Black Friday packs that y'all may want to pick up to help make sure you guys summon those awesome characters. Well, with Amazon Appstore and Amazon Coins, you guys can save a ton of money with 3 simple steps. Number 1, purchase those Amazon Coins at a special rate, like I mentioned, up to 20% off. Number 2, get Epic 7 app on your phone, tablet, start downloading it. And then number 3, open the app, log into your game account, and you're ready to start saving. It's literally that simple. So use Amazon Coins, get the Amazon App Store, start saving a ton of money. Thanks so much, guys. Let's get into the video. All right, guys, let's jump straight into the tier list. This is our Season 9 early tier list. Val, could you kindly explain our top tier S row?
Yeah, so for S tier, we have what generally we consider meta-defining heroes. So you could first pick any single one of these heroes and build a team around them. You can build a very legit team around any one of them, and it could just basically be a winning strategy.
Sounds good. I'll list out the heroes real quick. This is Conquer Lilies, Lua, DJ Bazaar, Spectre Tenebria, Special Change ROL, Destina, Mediator Queric or Hand Guy, Angel of Light Angelica, and then we have Specially Changed Auden, who Valk believes she's going to end up somewhere in A, and I agree with him, but right now while everyone's testing her, and she's very powerful as a 3-star at the lower ranks, I think she's definitely like first pick material and could be with these guys, but as you get higher up and as the meta shifts, she'll probably be somewhere placed lower. Valk, anything else in the S rank row that we should talk about real quick or not?
Nah. I think Auden is slightly controversial, but she's one of those heroes that can definitely have more strengths than weaknesses.
Yeah.
And for that, I think she's sitting here perfectly fine for now.
Sounds good. All right, let's take over the let's get into the A row.
All right, so A tier is what we consider playstyle defining heroes. We have meta defining heroes, playstyle. So once you kind of pick a meta defining hero, you're going to build a playstyle around them, right? So for example, if I'm going to cleave, right, I might be looking to pick up like Spectre Tenebria plus Ran. And then if you don't have a hero like Ran, cleaving is going to feel a little bit off for you, right? As the same with anti-cleave, right? If you're anti-cleaving and you can't pick up a Bellion, or you have the option but you can't pick up the Bellion, it's going to feel awful. As is if you're to play tank down, having Archdemon and Senya feels so pivotal to that playstyle that these characters kind of define the playstyle that they thrive in.
Well said. So identify your playstyle, guys, and if you have like some of these defining heroes, you know, you can kind of fit into them better, but be careful if you don't. This is our A tier. Valk, anything else needs to be said here?
I think A tier has probably one of the biggest shift ups, just with the Mage Frenzy +7 speed coming in this season, as well as things like the Hwayoung nerf. A lot of these units previously were considered not playable, right? For example, like Sylvan Sage Vivian is now a really strong pick, and you see her a lot picked on like 2nd or 3rd even, and she's like very strong there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that have kind of shifted the meta. Also, Arwell being so powerful, and then Auden getting a specialty change, hurting like certain units. Yeah, I agree to all of that. Okay, let's go into the B tier. Val, could you explain the B tier for everybody?
So B tier is what we consider premier options, right? And when you've kind of like fleshed out the core of your playstyle, right, whether that's standard, aggro, cleave, tank down, you're going to want to react to your opponent's draft with the appropriate options, right? So for example, if you're being cleaved and you're playing like a really fast opener, you're gonna want to consider stuff like Wanderer Silk, a Sid. If you're playing against standard players and they're sporting like a Landy, this is where your Millum comes out, right? You're playing against Tank Down. This is where the premier option of Faithless Lidica being able to run the cooldown increase on like a Meteor Koeric or Apocalypse Ravi. And these units, generally you can't pick them too early because they're punishable, but in being able to punish your opponent and hoping they can't react, these are some of the best options you can get.
Well said, and this is going to cover the majority of our tier list. As you can see, Valk, we like to make it a bell curve style, right? So the very top of the list has a low amount, and then as we get to the middle, this is where the majority of the units are going to be, and that should provide a healthy-ish meta, correct?
Yeah, and power level's all relative, so these are basically all how they compare when you like place them right next to each other, essentially.
And quickly on that note, guys, we did sort of try to identify left to right. A lot of these can be shifted around slightly, but we did sort of try to rank them. So of course it's top to bottom and then left to right in terms of power level, roughly. All right, Val, let's go on to the C tier.
So C tier is kind of what we consider slightly less good options. Some of them are still like best in slot solutions. For example, like Bunny Dom would just be able to counter Conqueror Lilius, but they all have counterplay to some degree on their own. For example, ML Haze is kind of beating back this like Make Chloe resurgence, but ML Haze is really weak to Unbuffable, which is kind of common in the meta. Briar Witch Asaria is also really good against a lot of evasion units right now, but she's also very vulnerable herself to crowd control. As is, Dark Corvus is also seeing a resurgence with, people picking really safe, right? Tank, support, Lionheart, Sirmia, and then they leave their last pick to counterpick you. That's where you slam your Dark Corvus. But at the same time, if their supports are really good, they can provide like Skill Nullifier, Burn Your Souls, or Crowd Control. Dark Corvus is still a little bit hard to play, even though he's supposed to counter that comp.
Yeah, but still, it's nice to see him on an RTA tier list where usually he'd just be in a Guild War one. So you guys did pick Dark Corvus somewhere. It's nice to see him. He is playable currently in the meta. Valk, anything else in the C tier?
I mean, that's pretty much it. I think that covers it pretty well.
Okay. Then last but not least, we have the D tier. And this is really just, Valk, our kind of, fun tier list. If you like these units, we put them on here. There's so many others at the bottom that could be thrown into D. Just pick your favorite. Anything you want to say, Valk, about these kind of D tier heroes we sort of threw up there?
So what I would consider as a D tier hero is like, they can do a similar thing to for example, a high tier hero, right? But you have to jump through like a bunch of extra hoops, or they're lacking like performance value. So for example, Spez to me is like maybe like a weaker Remnant Violet, where they're both designed to pop one unit. But Specimen says like you have to set up stuns and you have to essentially jump through like 3 hoop and line up the CR. It's a lot of trouble to set up.
Yeah.
In a similar vein, you have somebody like a Katie's who can set up heals and healing outputs like better than Destina, right? But the problem is Destina has this huge value in that she can revive dead allies, which has like been amazing this meta. Whereas a Katie's doesn't get to do that. So she's a couple tiers lower, but she's still good nonetheless.
And the combat readiness push. Yeah, Destina has some other utility as well, like you mentioned with the revive. But Valk, I'm sure you can agree, like some players can make Specimen Says look like a B tier or higher hero. This is really just if all things are equal, the D tier is kind of, they have something against them. But if you guys have a favorite here, you can make them shine and look a lot better than the bottom tier, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a tier list like this doesn't determine like, wow, like look how low, for example, Auxiliary Lots is in B tier, right? But, with the Mage +7 speed, and if you have really good speed gear and really good knowledge of drafting and unit counterpicks, I think there are definitely like even legend players right now that's just setting up Auxiliary Lots Cleave and making him look like a damn superstar. And I think having a good strategy coming into this is way more important than kind of just like judging power level in a vacuum. But that's kind of like our goal with this, right? Which is to help newer players judge how strong a character is and then kind of get a feel for the relative strategies these characters can be used in.
Sounds good. And Valk, last but not least, we have the Zeo, who's coming out as of recording this. Maybe by the time you'll watch this, he's already released. But Valk and I made this tier list before he's here, so let's just place him here at the end now, Valk. And I think we both agreed he should be somewhere in A next to like Bellion, right?
Right. So the way I see Zeo, right, is that he's just a better Acid, right? He's an Acid that, he gets free combat readiness at the beginning of the battle, strips into the silence so he can ignore immunity as well. And just from like conversations with other top players who, you know, are going to be playing Cleave and aggro after he's released, the projected pre-ban for those players are looking like it's going to be Bellion plus Zeo. So I kind of see them in a similar spot. And you know, Zeo looks like he has pretty good multiplier, so I'm expecting he'll be a pretty solid option, even if you're not like going into it completely anti-cleave or anti-aggro as well.
The skill 3 actually, Valk, I don't know if you caught it, was actually kind of low, but I agree with you overall. I do think he's still going to be very good regardless. And he opens up pre-ban, so like Valk mentioned, Bellion and Zeo will be the pre-bans for cleavers, and then things like AOL, Angel of Light, Angelica gets opened up. And just to be clear, guys, if you weren't sure, Valk was mentioning the Assassin Sid, who is commonly seen as, how would we put this, Valk, for someone that's super new to RTA? He's like a contester, meaning in a game a lot about speed, Assassin Sid can be used to sort of disrupt your opponent's flow. A cleaver wants to go first, and he was kind of one of the premier options to fight against that, where now Zeo is going to be king of that speed contest role, right, Valk?
Right. So if you're like a normal player going to RTA, you're going to run into these guys cleavers, right? And what they're going to do is run a lot of super fast units and just going to try to kill you before you get to play the game.
Exactly.
And because of how fast Assassin Sid is, his base speed is really high. He gets a lot of free crit chance, so you don't have to build him. He's very easy to build, right?
Yeah.
So if you have one good fast set of DPS gear, you just throw it on Assassin Sid and you just slam him whenever you're getting cleaved. And if he doesn't get banned, he's just going to be able to completely break down a cleave by himself. Very useful unit.
All right, well, there's our Zeo, guys. That's just projected. He's for sure going to move around depending on how he pans out this week, but hopefully this helps you out. Valk, always a pleasure. This is our maybe 5th tier list now for Season 9. Guys, this is final for early Season 9, and then Valk and I will be back again, you know, probably next season. So, Valk, thank you so much, and yeah, guys, we'll catch y'all later.
Yeah, see you guys. See ya.
Peace, everybody.